What's going on, y'all? I'm the Home Slice, Ascend Hyperion. Well, in case you don't often find yourself on the cutting edge of Halo news, boy will today's topic be a big shock to you. On Tuesday, December 15th, 343 put out an end-of-the-year dev blog focused on MCC. The article featured a ton of really interesting in-game superstats from MCC and several interviews with 343 staff. Check out the blog linked below. Included in this dev blog was a teaser of the content we can come to expect in Season 5 of MCC, and man oh man was it a surprise. 343 announced that several of the armor sets from Halo Online will be coming to the MCC as customization options for Halo 3? And for some reason they chose these 3 armor sets to be the teaser image. Nonetheless, it didn't take people long to start speculating their hearts out on what would be included in this season, and it took even less time for them to start campaigning against the update. Many of the most vocally opposed claimed this update would be a bastardization of Halo 3, and would be nothing short of a destruction of Halo 3 as we remember it and how we want to remember it. This group includes several very large content creators, and of course plenty of the most important people in the Halo community. Average everyday players. So while people are raising their picket fences and fighting to protect their personal holy land, I figured it'd be a good time to do what we do best on Ascend Hyperion and start asking some questions. In today's video, I want to explore if whether or not Halo's 20-year history of art styles can find a way to coexist in the shadow of 343 looking to inject one of Halo's most extreme art styles into one of Halo's most visually conservative fan bases. We'll explore what this effort could mean for the future of MCC and even Halo Infinite, and I'm going to give y'all a hands-on look at armor settings you're not supposed to be able to see until January. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, and let's kick this into gear. The first thing to understand is that, funny enough, this isn't the first time 343 has tested the waters with blending art styles. Those of you who played Halo 5 might recall that over the course of its lifespan, 343 on multiple occasions injected the game with legacy content, usually always to the rejoice of players. This didn't stop at armor either, it even included guns. But we need to talk about 343's two very different approaches to blending art style in Halo 5, because one worked way better than the other. I'm referring to the debacle with the Noble Team armors in Halo 5. For this set, 343 opted to rework some of the Noble Team armors rather than just straight port them, which led to a series of, well, interesting changes with the sets. And it's more than fair to say that some of the armors really missed the mark with being faithful callbacks to the source material. Many fans, while happy to have a semblance of Noble Team back in Halo, were vocally dismayed and confused with the changes that had been made. We can contrast this to when 343 added the collection of Reach helmets, all of which were basically straight ports from the original Reach designs. Overnight, these helmets rose to stardom in the Halo 5 customization pool, and what was even cooler to see was how these old helmets could be meshed very effectively with new armor, some examples probably already on your screen. And it goes without saying, the addition of legacy weapons and weapon styles was accepted with open arms, as well, we don't need to talk about that for too long. The point being that when it came to including multiple generations of art style, there was a higher, more positive reception when it was straight porting, not really conforming the old design to the new design. My point of bringing up Halo 5 is that really, it's the first Halo game that took a sizable stab at blending art styles, and letting multiple generations of Spartan armor coexist was unheard of before. I think it's fair to say that in Halo 5, coexistence was an objective success. So now we fast forward to Halo 3 MCC in 2020, on the cusp of being injected with a slew of Halo Online armors. This is a similar story, but in a whole different language. We're looking to move a higher generation of armor backwards to a lower generation, and while simplistic designs don't seem too out of place in a pool of complex ones, a complex design looks very standoutish in a pool of simple ones. I think it doesn't help that several of these sets are, well, look, you know I try to do my best to be as objective as possible on this channel, but yo, some of these armors are just ugly. What has made things worse is that many people are currently under the assumption that the ugliest armors are the only ones being added, which is further fueling the outrage. I personally hopped on MCC to get an in-depth look at some of the new stuff myself, and the first thing I discovered is that there were way more armor options being added than people were talking about. And beyond that, there were now many more options for Halo 3 in general, including options to edit arm and leg armor, and even change your tech suit. I want to give a shout out to Kevin Cool, who hooked me up with a way to check out the gear more in depth. And it's here where my opinion really began to change. I was pretty opposed to this update going into it based off what I had just seen on Twitter and stuff. While there are, for sure, some less desirable armor pieces, there are plenty of options that, when mixed and matched, create some pretty sick armor combos. I mean, Air Assault is cool on a regular day, but this combo right here is just sick. I mean, I was smiling so hard flying through theater looking at this thing. But the new options let you make little changes too. I was able to create this super slick and immersive ODST design that just downright is not possible in base Halo 3. I even put together subtle designs like this Mark V Spartan with some different shoulders and some different legs. And of course I found ways to make some cool new extremes, like my anti-shinobi Spartan I have here. Would you like to see this guy and a Hayabusa guy face off in your match? Cause I know I would. It was after all this that I actually reached my personal conclusion about the update. I was all for it now. It was hard to come to any conclusion other than that the update was going to be bad at first because the only media regarding the update was negatively spun. Nobody had really sat down and opened up the full package and summed it up in their head just yet. I think once you do that, it's easy to care less about the agreeably wacky armor and to be more interested in the cool and useful ones we'll be getting too. I mean, Air Assault literally takes no L's. So when I take myself back to the original question and ask, can art styles coexist? After looking at the success of Halo 5 and what I feel is the potential success of this Halo 3 update, my vote is yes, but with some caveats. Look, I think 343 is testing the waters right now with this. They want to stress test the community to see what the upper and lower limits for inclusion are. After all, 343 has stated that they are devoted to delivering a blended Halo experience in Halo Infinite, and that means finding a way to satisfy 20 years worth of fans. I want to call attention to a line from the Inside Infinite 343 update. In regards to armor customization, it reads this: "We want to make sure that Halo Infinite players will be able to get their old favorites as well as their new favorites at launch, and as we expand over the months post-launch, much like MCC, I want to bring everything to Infinite, eventually." On paper, this seems like an insane task. Imagine trying to do that in practice. I think it's fair to say 343 is going to be looking for what people actually want blended in these armor generations. They want to understand what parts of player expression are the most important and what needs to be in Halo Infinite to make it the best coexistent art style game there is. There's going to be extremes on both ends. Think about it like this. I would say all Halo games provide extremes in their armor. Think about Hayabusa and Fotis and the skull-carved Emil helmet. Those are kind of outlandish, to be fair, and 343 wants to understand what makes that outlandish different from
whatever is happening here.
I think as a community, we should start making sure we elevate our ideas on what blended Halo looks like, and not just protect our own visions of Halo, but the visions of fellow fans as well. We're being offered a very unique chance to shape the future of Halo, and we need to take it. If we're going to draw lines, let's draw those lines together, rather than against each other. If our message to 343 is, I want to disable new armor, that doesn't really send a great message for coexistent art style. Think about it in the grand scheme. I think art styles can coexist. Do you? That's going to do it for this video. Like always, a big shout out and thank you to the supporters of this video, supporters on the Discord and on Ko-fi. If you want to become a supporter, my Ko-fi link is below. Any donations are appreciated. Be sure to like and subscribe, and until next time, I'll catch you guys later.